Hi, welcome back to the world of nomads survive. Recently, I've spent a lot of time thinking about what humanity looks like in this universe, how they might have evolved over millennia, and particularly how constant migration across planets and solar systems may have affected their physical development. In case you're not caught up with this project, I'll give you a quick summary. It's set in a universe where the lifespan of stars is short, so stars are born and die relatively quickly. Therefore, civilians are forced to move from planet to planet and establish themselves over and over again, all while dealing with a new climate, different resources, and changing gravitational strengths. These three factors were my main focus in designing an evolved humanity. The origin of humans in the universe of Nomads Survive has long since been lost. Scientists have only been able to track their migration patterns for the past 3 interstellar relocations. Therefore, it's only assumed that they once looked the way we do, and that's also where I'm starting my exploration of their evolution. I started simply by sketching random ideas without caring about scientific or fictional reasoning for why they might look the way they do. I was testing different proportions of head to body, elongated necks with a broader chest, or even giving this version of humanity a tail. While this was a good place to generate ideas, it wasn't a good way of really narrowing down on a design path. Additionally, I'd been painting them without color thus far because it allowed me to focus on the proportions first. This is where I started to introduce more reasoning to their appearance. If humans were to live on a planet much larger than Earth, they'd be dealing with a greater gravitational force pulling them down toward the ground. That would make their movement more challenging and exhausting while also causing a lot of strain on their musculoskeletal system since every movement has to resist the force of gravity. Even when idle, the body would be pressed against the ground more strongly, thereby compressing the spine and shrinking the humans in size. Mutations like dwarfism or kyphosis, which is more commonly referred to as just having a hunched back, would be favorable in this new environment. So, by the process of natural selection, only those suited to survive in this new habitat would be able to reproduce, and hence humanity would evolve. The opposite might occur on planets with a smaller size, mass, and a weaker gravitational force pull. The decrease in gravity would alleviate the spine and allow not only humans to grow much taller, but also plants and other animals. On such planets, some humans might grow longer necks and limbs, while maintaining a slender posture, enabling them to scout for prey, gather resources, and compete with other predators in their new environment. I feel like here I've created some interesting ideas of what some humans might look like after millennia of evolution. However, I think it was time for me to take a step back and reassess how I might develop them to be more interesting, to write about and to draw in the future. Whatever decisions are made about them now will affect every story I wish to tell in this world. I'm not throwing any of what I've just talked about away, because there is a place for these extreme types of mutation in the universe, but there's simply not a majority of the population and will only serve as a reminder of the long-lasting evolutionary process. I used Leonardo da Vinci's drawing of the Vitruvian Man as a guiding point and a reference for my next sketch. Scientists theorized that the future of human evolution on Earth will lead us to grow taller on average, as we're already seeing. Additionally, the human lifespan has been slowly increasing and is expected to continue to go on an upward trend as medicine advances. The average male in Nomads Survive grows to be about 2.3 meters tall and lives to be 200 years old. They've eliminated many of the diseases that threaten us at old age, like dementia and even cancer. So they tend to have slender builds in general, with increased endurance and flexibility, allowing them to adapt to new planets and their habitats. On that note, humans have also by and large acquired a darker skin tone to combat the varied levels of starlight that they're exposed to on various planets, along with thicker skin, acting as armor against insects with a venomous bite or potentially spreading diseases. The humans speak of a time when their species fled from their first dying star. Then, they did not have methods of space travel nearly as advanced as they do now, meaning that the people who initially set out on the journey would not be alive to see their new home world. Instead, their descendants 10 generations later would land the ship on the planet and populate it. During their expedition, humans were ensconced in utter darkness, as the fuel of their ship was reserved to power the engines rather than the lights. Their eyes grew larger, and the sclera slowly consumed both iris and pupil, leaving them with all white eyes. Given the fact that humans have achieved great feats in improving their technology, there came a point in their evolution when they wished to enhance their body's function with robotic assistance. This varied from vision-enhancing helmets, water-breathing masks, gaining a third robotic arm, or even amputating their own limbs to replace them with stronger mechanical ones. Through these augmentations, they could gain greater strength, speed, agility, or even abilities not naturally accessible to humans, such as flight and life underwater. Most robotic enhancements are permanent, so once a decision is made, there is no going back, and the Roboman must maintain his augments. It's been some time since robotic enhancement was popular due to the complexity of producing personalized modifications and the need for constant cleaning, maintenance, and replacement of robotic parts. It became very expensive and undesirable to have your body permanently altered in such a way. Robomen, as they're commonly called, still exist, although mainly as soldiers or wealthy amputees requiring a new limb. Civilians rarely choose to pay money for their body to be changed forever in such drastic ways. When robotic enhancement first began to fall out of fashion, corporations were pressed to offer a new and improved way of enhancing the human body. Starting with gene modification, they wished to rewrite genetic code. This proved to be a dangerous and mostly unprofitable venture because it was highly specific to each individual client. So, they invested in genetic recombination, a process of exchanging genetic information between two different organisms and thereby transferring the abilities of one to the other. This mainly included recombining the genes of wild beasts and animals with those of humans, giving them animal-like features. Even though they succeeded with the process, the results were often undesirable. Many of the Zoboman show signs of stronger animal instincts and reduced levels of intelligence, so the prospect of genetic recombination using animal genes soon became frowned upon. Like with Roboman, there are still remnants of the Zoboman experiments among the populace, however, they're very limited. Genetic recombination was not a complete failure though. The process was good, therefore another attempt was made to monetize boosting human physiology. This time, instead of creating an animal-human hybrid, a series of symbionts derived from many species of plants and fungi, carrying genes specifically selected to enhance the human physique. Arguably the most valuable and sought after was the chloroplast symbiont, which saturated some cells in the human skin with chloroplasts, giving them the ability to perform photosynthesis and feed off natural light. Humans possessing a fungal or floral symbiont are referred to as Gobomen, and those with the chloroplast symbiont are capable of surviving without nourishment from food for weeks, solely absorbing natural light. The Luxeternal symbiont, derived from the bioluminescent mushrooms, gives parts of the human body the ability to reserve natural light as energy to be re-released in the form of light once again whenever the human wants to. Other fungal symbionts embody a human's eyes and enhance their vision, in rare cases even giving them the ability to see through walls. When paired with a certain floral symbiont, humans even gain the ability of regrowing their limbs and regenerating their bodies with plant-like organic structure. These symbionts may give some increased strength, agility, or speed, and other features akin to those of the Roboman. A truly rare ability is having a moss symbiont that allows the human to overgrow their skin with a reflective moss and camouflage themselves against any given surface. Some symbionts provide the capacity to regulate body temperature in order to overcome extreme heat or cold, and others improve the five senses like smell or hearing. Unintentionally, the floral and fungal symbionts became genetically transferable, so the offspring of the original generation that paid to have them bonded also gained these traits. For years and years, they were passed down and crossed amongst the populace to a point where not being a Goboman is almost a disability, as the majority of people possess one or even multiple symbionts. I've drawn the appearance of the symbiont growing over the human body very boldly at first, making it appear as though they were molding, which in a way is true, although in my head it's more subtle and it should be cool to be a Goboman. So I redrew them with fainter colors, as though the symbiont were inside the skin and not growing on top of it. I also included a drawing of a bioluminescent Goboman and the drawings of other symbionts in color, starting with a woman that has regrown her limbs with bioregenerative symbiont and a man meditating while his body performs photosynthesis. Then there's a drawing of a girl with enhanced smell, and I wanted to keep some of this more lighthearted by giving her a mushroom for the nose. Finally, a man who is camouflaging himself against a metallic wall and a woman whose face is overgrowing by the symbiont, even covering her eye, meaning that she has enhanced vision. Overall, I feel like this is a pretty good place to start designing and writing Goboman characters, as I think there's a lot I can do with this system. However, I really enjoy some of the ideas that I've left behind, like the impacts of gravity and weather on the physique, and potentially mixing that with not only Goboman but also Zobo and Roboman. There is a lot of potential to explore other mutations and evolutions of the human. The one I'm most interested in exploring, I've simply called a genetic monstrosity. And they're people in whom the fungal symbiont manifested itself too strongly, giving them enhanced mental capacities and extremely heightened senses. There's even a belief that they are able to telepathically communicate among one another. The few times they've been known to reproduce, the offspring they produced more closely resembles a mushroom than a human, and they've been dubbed the Spore-born. They're very strong and aggressive creatures who are shunned from society for being abominations. But I'll talk about them another time. So I don't want to keep going on with this because I'm afraid I'm already spending too much time resolving details of evolution and providing reasoning for every little thing, when sometimes they just have to be cool for the sake of being cool. I think that the groundwork is set, and I'm ready to show you where Goboman live and how their nomadic tribes have earned this project the name Nomads Survive. If you're interested, we've got a Discord server for this community, and I'd be very happy if you join us. I'll try to be as active as I can, and I'll share more about my plans for these projects over there with you. So, thanks for watching.